Hi everybody, my name is Dina Mabin and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to our class, Hebrew Reading is Fundamental. I'm very excited to be working with all of you. We have a very nice sized class, so this should be a lively and engaging group, and I hope that everybody is as excited as I am. Over the next 5 weeks, you're going to learn a lot about Hebrew reading, about its complexities, and it is very complex, and especially why it is difficult, particularly difficult, for the students that we work with in supplementary schools, why it's difficult for them to learn it. At the same time, you're going to increase your toolkit with a bunch of activities and methods and games that will help you in teaching in your classroom in the coming year and hopefully years to come. And as the title suggests, we're going to discuss ways to make teaching and learning Hebrew a little more playful, even, dare I say it, a little more fun. That said, I recognize that learning to read is really tough, and that teaching reading requires specific skills and knowledge that many teachers aren't even aware of. Dr. Louisa Moats, who's a leading authority on English reading in America, notes that 20% of all the children in public schools, 20% of them have significant difficulties learning to read. An additional 20% do not read well enough, they're not fluent enough at it to be able to engage in independent reading. That's a very telling statistic, and those are the same kids that we're working with after school. At the same time, surveys of elementary teachers reveal high levels of confusion about spelling patterns and word structures, and they only have the slightest ability to identify speech sounds. Now, while it's generally known that English spelling is inconsistent, for example, most elementary teachers can't explain why it's so inconsistent. You may not need this kind of knowledge to know how to read, but you definitely need this kind of knowledge. You have to understand it well enough to be able to teach others how to read. So while we'll have some fun along the way, each week, part of the week, and the entire first week is pretty serious business, because I know what we're up against. In Hebrew classes across the country, we are seeing a decrease in the number of hours of instruction, and at the same time we're seeing an increase in the numbers of parents who don't know how to read Hebrew well enough to help their kids at home. This is a really bad combination, and what it means is that we have to bring the best possible practices that we can into the classroom, make sure that we offer things in the best way for learners to learn them, because we're fighting time constraints and the inability of them to get additional help elsewhere. Dr. Louisa Moats says, to understand printed language well enough to teach it explicitly, requires disciplined study of its systems and forms, both spoken and written. So, kol hakavod lachem, all the honor, because you are taking that first step in learning all about the systems involved in Hebrew reading, Hebrew, a little bit of spoken Hebrew, and how it differs in particular from English, so that you'll know where some of the pitfalls are. The first week, this first week, is laid out on the web study platform in the order that I think makes the best sense to complete the work. We open with the first of 2 forums. I know that's a little strange, and I'll get back to that in a second. This is followed by a short video on the mental processes within the brain, how the brain actually does reading. That is then followed by the first lecture. Now, I know that the first lecture is a bit technical, and so I'd suggest that you take the first video and the first lecture and deal with them in one sitting. Then take a break. Let the information sink in a little bit before you continue on. At that point, you really can do the first assignment, or you can wait to do it until you've seen the remaining material in the class. There are 2 more videos, 2 videos on eye movements, and a second lecture. Now, a key part of the first assignment is posting your answers in the forum that's entitled Problems in Hebrew Reading and commenting on the postings of some of your colleagues. I cannot overemphasize the importance of the forums. It's not an exaggeration to say that the best learning that happens in an online course happens in the course of the forums and the ways that teachers interact with each other and discuss the topics as fully as possible. That's why I split this first week into 2 forums. The first is introductions. Get in there, get comfortable with posting, then do the first set of work so that when you get to the real Tachlis forum, you can jump right in, dive right into the heart of the material. Finally, if you have any questions, if anything is unclear, please post a question in the forum or drop me an email. I am absolutely committed to making sure that this highly complex material is completely understood, especially the foundational material, because it will help you build the most solid classroom that you can. That said, in the words of Pirkei Avot, the task is great and the day is short. So I'll let you get to it, and I'll see you next week.